Today, I'm 100% in Disney's Bugs Life for the PlayStation 1. I'll be taking on every single level, running into iconic characters, collecting grain, letters, and even taking out every other bug in existence to fully finish the game. But I'm adding an insane challenge to the playthrough, Retro Achievements. Whenever I play through an older game with these achievements, they add a fun challenge to the overall experience, giving me a good reason to go back and replay some of my favourite childhood games, or running through a game for the first ever time. But whoever made these achievements for Bugs Life either really loves the game or despises anyone who wanted to sit down and revisit a classic. Because holy crap, this ended up being one of the hardest playthroughs of my entire gaming career. From near perfect speedrun achievements where a single fault will fail the entire run, to damageless boss fights and levels that will test your skills, reactions, and overall patience on a very janky platformer. An achievement set that only 50 odd people have been able to master out of 1,000 plus players. With 95 achievements to grab to earn the mastery and retro achievements, here is my journey to 100% this PS1 Disney classic. Starting from the training level, this will be my first ever playthrough of the entire game. In this game, we control Flik, the main ant from the film. As Flik, we can throw berries as an attack. We can jump and butt slam, which can also be used for taking out enemies. Throughout the game, we will find seeds. These can be picked up and moved around the levels to help us with platforming. For example, this standard orange seed becomes a mushroom, letting us bounce up to higher places. We can rip up any seeds that we have created and swap them for other kinds of seeds, like this green seed. Seeds can also be upgraded. By having 2 green seed upgrades, Flik can now create a taller plant, and combined with the mushroom, it allows us to climb up top. Every level has 3 medals for us to collect. We have the grain medal, for finding all 50 pieces of grain, which will also fully heal us and give us a bronze medal. We have letters that spell out Flik. Finding all of the 4 letters will give us an extra life and a silver medal. The final medal is the enemies medal. Flik's standard berries start off as red berries, the weakest in the game. But by finding berry upgrades, the berries become stronger and also get abilities like homing in. And eventually, we will get the golden berries. These will instantly kill any enemy and will stop them from ever respawning. We get our first achievement for wrapping up the tutorial by earning every medal. And then we receive this super satisfying level complete screen.
Never too much grain. F-L-I-K spells Flik. That's me. Oh, right. Oh, yeah!
Back at the level select, and level 1 is now available for us to play.
Yeah!
Follow me!
Ant Island.
This brings back so many memories. This is the only level I played as a kid with a demo disc from the official PlayStation magazine. Seeing the anthill, enemies and seeds scattered around felt so nostalgic and cozy. But I will soon come to realise that this is the only chill time I'm gonna have with this game. I take out enemies using my berries, find the letters and grains scattered around, and become very familiar with the controls. Flik is a very slippery character, which is gonna make the achievements coming up even harder to complete. In the bottom right, we can see the current plants that I can create. Orange is used for bouncing and getting height and movement around the level. Green is used for making tall plants that allow us to find the hidden upgrades, collectibles, and reach high up places. And blue plants become helpful upgrades like extra health. We can also find yellow seeds later on. Sometimes in the levels, the golden berry can just be found rather than upgrading towards it, letting us kill every other insect around the anthill. Now, every single level is going to have 6 achievements for us to grab. We have the Flik Finder achievements for the letters, Grain Collector for all 50 grain, the Enemy Defeater medal for killing every enemy on the level, and then an achievement for heading to the exit. But the final 2 achievements for every level is where this game becomes an absolute pain in the ass. Heading back in, let's take on the first challenge achievement. Anthill Speedrunner. Complete Anthill within 25 seconds. I ran straight to the exit, ignoring everything in the level, and that wasn't good enough. So already, I've got to find the optimal route to make it to the exit. By running from the spawn, I'm able to jump on this vine, make it up top, and then perform a perfect butt slam to just about make it over the fence into the exit to pop the achievement. This is just a taster of what's to come for the speedrunning achievements. And up next, this level gives us a second speedrun challenge, Anthill Leap of Faith. Collect the gold berries in Anthill within 20 seconds. Originally, to get the gold berries, I had to upgrade my seeds to a propeller plant in order to grab it. But here, we have to learn a couple of speedrun strategies. Very certain walls in the game can be glitch jumped, jumped. After learning these jumps, I then had to sprint over to this giant rock to see the gold berries floating in the sky. And now we need to learn a perfect jump and butt slam in order to grab the gold berries. If I fail, I have to start the level from scratch due to not having enough time left. This is a very tight time for the first friggin' level in the game. I just want to point out as well that I play these games in hardcore mode with RetroAchievements. That basically means that I can't use any save states to help with achievements. Hardcore aims to keep the experience as close to the original games as possible, so I can't just set up a save and keep practicing the jump. I've got to keep heading back into the level and go up to the rock. After about 10 minutes, I finally make the jump and grab the achievement. And from here on out, the achievements just get harder and harder. Next, we have tunnels, level 2. Flik has accidentally lost all of the food that the ants have gathered for the grasshoppers. While hiding in the tunnels, the grasshoppers discover the food is gone, and they start to invade. This is a long ass level for the second level of the game. Already I start collecting the usual stuff, seed and berry upgrades and grain. From the roof of the tunnels are the grasshoppers, who come crashing down and will hurt us by walking into us. I make it to the end of the tunnel just to see where I need to head, and now it's time to explore. Throughout this level there were barriers that require us to have a certain amount of grain before it will let us through. This opens up so many pathways that it becomes super easy to get lost. I'm just trying my best to avoid enemies and find what I can. I eventually get enough upgrades for the gold berries, find the grain medal, search some more and collect the final letter and defeat this really annoying centipede coming out of the wall. And that wraps up all of the medals and the level tunnels for the first time. We then get introduced to Hopper, who is demanding his food. One of my favourite villains in any Disney film. Dude is just a straight up dickhead. Let's see what the challenges have in store for us for level 2. First up, race to the chamber. Complete tunnels within 90 seconds, jumping on at most 1 seed. This is going to be a problem. While exploring, I used multiple mushrooms to make it up to higher places. My first jump, I've got to ignore the seed and butt slam up. Then, I've got to activate this green plant, run back on myself, and make the jump to get up. Because I've just used the green seed to get up, this next jump, I have to use the tiny hitbox on top of this glowing mushroom in order to make it up. Remember what I said, Flik is a very slippery character to control, and the game is just straight up janky. So trying to make it on top of the glowing mushroom during a time limit becomes super frustrating. I make it up and speed through, avoiding the grasshoppers and enemies around, and I don't make it in time. Now it becomes practice makes perfect. Just running the route, learning the jumps, and hoping nothing bumps into me in order to make it in time. It takes about 20 minutes of runs before I have the perfect run in order to pop the achievement. But I've got no time to chill. Now we have to create a blueberry plant in tunnels within 50 seconds. I need 2 green upgrades to help with this run, so I grab the first one from this mushroom jump. Pretty easy, but the second one requires me to wall run and jump while butt slamming to get the height needed to grab the second upgrade. I use the plant to get up, sprint towards this giant open room and create another green plant. Using the nearby scenery, I can just about make it to the plant, jump up for the berry upgrade, and then I need to rip out the plant and change it to a blueberry plant before the 50 seconds runs out. And here is my main complaint about this achievement set. These achievements are very challenging, and a huge amount of them require speedrunning skills. But why do we not have a friggin' timer? A timer would make things so much easier to track. Instead, I had to settle for using my phone as a stopwatch and hitting start as well as quickly grabbing my controller for each run. The floating green seed was the most inconsistent jump of this speedrun. Over and over again I practiced, and then the stress of getting to the end, making the plant, ripping it out and trying to create the blueberry was insane. 20 minutes later, I had my achievement, but man, after 2 levels of this game, I'm already stressed out, but I'm determined. Let's move on. The grasshoppers threaten Dot, the baby princess, with a vicious grasshopper, Thumper, and Flik steps in. This begins our first boss fight of the game, an open room with Thumper in the middle. On the outside is the grain and some upgrades for us to collect. I popped the grain collector achievement pretty fast. Trying to avoid the mosquitoes, I used the seeds to make it to the letters, grabbing the Flik finder achievement. Thumper is absolutely terrifying. I upgrade my berries to purple homing berries and defeat him for the first time to grab the achievement Council Chamber. With so much going on, I just wanted to secure the level before jumping back in. Exploring, I find my way up top to the giant mushroom to fully upgrade to the gold berries. Taking out the mosquitoes and Thumper gives me the enemy defeater achievement. Our first challenge in this level is 1 seed, 3 medals. Collect all medals in Council Chamber, only jumping on 1 seed. Well, because that 1 seed needs to be the gold berry, that means I have to find a way to grab all of the upgrades upgrades using the level around me. I easily get the Flik letters and grain collector, but the berry upgrades slow me down. Most of them are just simple jumps, but then there's this one, floating in the sky right near Thumper's spawn, meaning I have to pelt him and the mosquitoes to keep them away, while I try my absolute best to make it on top of this tiny glowing mushroom to jump towards it. The amount of times I got hit and even died here is ridiculous. The multitasking between keeping all three of them away while also trying to control Flik to stay on this stupid ass mushroom stressed me out. This alone took half an hour before I finally made the jump. I grabbed the gold berries and took all of my anger out killing Thumper. Before taking on the second challenge, I headed back to the training level. I'll be doing this throughout the playthrough in order to grab some extra lives, seeing as how this is an empty level and the letters are quite quick to grab. And while here, I got an achievement, butt slide, for performing a butt slide for at least 10 seconds. I didn't even know this was a thing. I just did it by accident messing around. Back at the council chamber, we have the next challenge. Quick Thumper. Complete council chamber within 20 seconds. Super easy. I just grabbed the blueberries from the propeller and absolutely pelted Thumper to grab it. Flik has the idea to go find help from other bugs to deal with the grasshoppers. We see him take a dandelion seed to start his journey, which brings us to level 4, Cliffside. I collect everything I can see and jump on the seed embedded into the ground to sprout a dandelion. By bouncing on its leaves, we can grab the seed and use it to float around the level. Mix this with the nearby propeller plants and it gives us the height needed to grab the letter F. Now we can travel across the canyon using the propeller plants along the way. I miss one and think, no problem, I'll just find a new one. Holy shit, it's a giant fletchling. Well, guess I can't land on the ground, so I take my time to fly across the whole canyon and make it past some thorns. Here we can land and there's a small area for us to explore for some more grain and letters. I find the gold berry and realise now I've got to somehow make it all the way back across the canyon to take out the enemies. I hover over and take my time making sure not to miss a single bug to pop the achievement and head back towards the exit to grab Cliffside. Going back into the level, we have Quick Flik. Obtain the Flik medal in Cliffside within 75 seconds. First, as quickly as I can, I've got to upgrade to the propeller plant, sprout the dandelion and fly over to the letter F, and then towards the canyon. About halfway over, we find the letter L. I've got to get used to taking these during the rest of the achievements. I now have to keep floating around to get the letter I, and then immediately go back on myself to just about make it in time to fly back up and make it over to the final letter for the achievement. It took about 10 minutes of trying to grab this one, but the next one took about half an hour to unlock. Gliding for grain. Collect 41 grain in Cliffside within 70 seconds. The start of the level lets us get 22 pieces of grain. Now, I've got to make it to the other side of the canyon. When I land, I can pick up all of the grain around the rocks and even the branch down below. But it's not enough grain to grab. What I need to do is make it to the other side as there's a ton of grain over there. On top of that, to save some time, I need to grab 2 pieces of grain here, which puts me dangerously low to the ground, and it ended up killing a lot of my runs. Once over, I can grab all of the grain, but then my next problem was the branch. For no reason, it was so slippery to land on, and half the time I would just skip it, propel up, and grab what grain I could up top, but it was never fast enough. This run had to be perfect. Perfect to the point where when I finally got all 41 pieces of grain, I had done the achievement in 69.5 seconds. Actually insane. But I'd rather play that level again 10 more times than continue to the next level. Riverbed Canyon might be one of the worst levels I've played in any video game ever. Let's cover it. The level itself is just confusing. It throws so many new things at you, like enemies and needing to carry seeds over super long distances that don't even seem possible at first. Already, we can see this level has a ton of enemies. As I make my way through over gaps and through the maze, I end up at a small mountain area with a spider on top. These mountains are hard enough to jump up, but combined with the enemies like the centipede and spiders that can also shoot web at you, it becomes a pain. That, mixed with the slippery physics, makes this level hell to go through. Every item I needed was floating high in the air above these mountains, meaning I needed to bring seeds and somehow get them across the gaps that would either cause them to fall in the gaps, or I fell down to the point where I even got a game over. Then, about halfway through the level, we get an element of RNG. These spiked bags will fall, releasing about 4 to 5 spiked plants. These drop like every 3 seconds, and they're so hard to avoid. I get to the end of the level after an hour of playing. That's how lost I got on this level, and I popped the achievement Riverbed Canyon. I still need all of the medals, which includes figuring out how to get that damn gold berry just floating high in the sky. Another run later, and I pick up the grain collector achievement. It then takes me another half an hour to figure out how to get the seeds across to the mountain. Turns out the propel upgrade I need is right at the end of the level, which also needs all of the green seed upgrades to reach. Everything about this level was just long and tedious. From here, I've got to propel the seeds up in order to reach the gold berries. After 90 minutes, the gold berry is finally mine, and I can start to wipe out the army of bugs on this massive ass level. 51 enemies to find through this maze, with the final one being this spider. Now I've got to waste even more time bringing these seeds up top for the final letter to grab the Flik Finder achievement. And just as I think it's all over, I remember we now have 2 challenges to do here. First up, Riverbed Canyon speedrunner. Complete the level within 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Are you joking? It just took me 90 minutes to finish it once. At least I know the level at the back of my hand now. But this timing was tight. It might seem like a lot of time to finish the level, but in order to make it, my movement has to be perfect. Let's look at the route. From the start, we turn left, grab the seed, and bounce over. We run to the first mountain and grab the green seed up top. Grab the next green seed and get to the spiked ball falling area. The next mountain has a green seed over this enemy. So now we can make this plan. Running and avoiding spiders, centipedes, and falling spiked balls, I have to jump up the final mountain for the last green seed to climb up and over to reach the exit. All of this has to be done in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I was slowed down by annoying ass jumps, getting caught on walls, damaged by enemies, and just struggling to jump up fast enough without falling. 45 minutes of practicing before I finally had the run I needed to make it to the exit, unlocking the achievement. By this point, I've spent over 2 hours on this one level, so please, let this next achievement be easy. What is it? Untouched enemy defeater. Collect the enemy's medal in Riverbed Canyon without taking any damage? I'm sorry, but what the f? I now have to somehow get the gold berry and make it through this giant ass level without getting hit. With 51 enemies and RNG falling spike balls, just getting the gold berry is a pain. So how am I gonna do this? Well, there's one speedrunning trick that can help us out. You see this wall? For some reason, when Flik runs towards it, we can just keep on jumping up and up to get high above the map. So by taking my time, I can make it up top, and with enough height and luck, this skips having to carry the seeds around and lets me land right on top of the gold berry. But that's it. I have the gold berry, but I've still got to somehow take out 51 enemies while not getting damaged. Sometimes I'd get hit on my way to the wall. Other times, I'd have the spice land on me while attempting the glitch. If I had a perfect fall onto the gold berry, it would instantly get ruined by the spider shooting me with its web, or just a different enemy who managed to hit me. Then, having the spiked balls landing all around me, having to jump and move around. This area, where each side has a centipede in the wall that will jump out and attack me, while also avoiding the spikes landing around me. Not seeing the holes that worms come out of, so as I avoid the spikes, I get hit by the friggin' worm. Having to avoid more webs from spiders, making it up slippery mountains, this was an absolute headache. The amount of times I died was embarrassing. I thought this game was called Bug's Life, not Bug's Death. The only thing that could slightly help me was getting my blue seed upgrades, so I can get the shield upgrade. But this wasn't until the end of the level. After 90 more minutes, I finally had a run that got me to the shield upgrade. But just look at the stuff I had to dodge to make it here. That tiny amount of RNG made this achievement torture to take on. But by some miracle, I took out the final enemy to pop the achievement Untouched Enemy Defeater. Guys, this was level 5. There's 15 damn levels in this game. Moving on, we come to Bird Nest, a boss fight arena with the giant bird above us. Although I think on my first attempt on this level, the bird glitched out as he stayed in the sky the entire time, which gave me the chance to explore the tiny ass level, collecting everything I needed for the medal achievements. And using the shooter plant, I was able to attack the bird to bring it down and destroy it with the golden berries for 2 more achievements. It's time for some more speedrunning. Up first, solid gold. Collect the gold berries within 20 seconds. With this being such a small level, there's only one way to go up towards the gold berry. So, once I had the jumps down, racing up to grab the gold berry was no problem. The next speedrun was a little harder. Another quick Flik achievement, 25 seconds to collect all of the letters. We run the same way as the gold berry for the first letter. Then, we have to jump across while avoiding the giant ass bird in the way for the letter K. Anytime I fell or got hit, it was an instant restart to make it in time. The F was the hardest letter to grab, with it being the final letter. It needed perfect movement movement to make it over the gaps and butt slam down on top of it to pop the achievement. Flik finally makes it to the big city. Look at all this life and business going on. Bugs just living their best life. Our first level here is city entrance. Well, forget about the bugs living their best life. Turns out most of the grain here comes from their corpses. So Flik must mass murder every bug on sight. I swear the only thing that kept me going on this level was the music. It's such a jam. And as for the level itself, it was a nightmare. Collecting upgrades and grains to get through the next section of the city. Watching grains just disappear. Toxic waste everywhere and just a ton of annoying enemies. Our goal here is to meet up with Francis, Slim, and Heimlich. To get through this part, I had to figure out how to get the seed across the waste. I just opted to take damage and used my invincibility frames to take it over. Towards the end of this level is an important section. The final berry upgrade is found near this grid. We have to carefully take a seed and put it in the center. But I end up falling and have to start the level from scratch after losing all of my lives. 20 minutes later and I'm back at the grid. Holy shit. Whose idea was this? With this janky slippery ass platformer, why are you making me pick up this seed and try to balance it on this position on the grid? Most of the time I would fall or be knocked off by the seed itself. Even worse, once I had it, I either had to rip out the plant and grab the berry or take the seed away from the grid and do it somewhere safe. An absolute friggin' nightmare. Over time, I collected all of the letters. I finally got the gold berry and ran back through the level to take out the bugs, which I'm okay with now because I need something to take my anger out on. And then I spent about 15 minutes looking for the last piece of grain that I had missed before getting to the gang towards the end. Another crazy long level, so you know exactly what's coming up next. More speedrunning. But before we do that, how about a pacifist achievement? Hold your fire. Complete city entrance without throwing any berries. This is annoying for two reasons. One, it takes away our ability to get grain from the enemies, so now I've got to search for the grain needed to progress through the barriers. And two, picking up seeds is the exact same friggin' button on the controller as throwing the berries. Come on game, give me a break. Even if I was straight up touching the seeds, Flik would still decide to throw a goddamn berry, meaning I had to restart the whole level. It only took a couple of attempts, but man, it was frustrating. And now we have this. Race to the gold. Collect the gold berry within 4 minutes and 20 seconds. You know, the last berry upgrade that's placed right above the most frustrating platform of the game, the damn grid. First, I had to pick up all of the grain that I could, rip up this seed to save time for later on, grab the upgrades as fast as possible, and leave the first area. The second area needed me to jump up on these boxes to grab the next berry upgrade on this bottle, defeating enemies and grabbing grain wherever I could, as we needed at least 30 grain to get through the final door. By making the tall green plant here, we can get the next berry upgrade. Now at the toxic waste, I had to lose a life, as the fastest way to get the seed across was to die and use all of the invincibility frames we have. Then we have to carry the seed through the door and arrive at the grid. This frigging grid. It killed so many of my runs. From the seed not landing on top to me falling over and over again. The speed needed to jump up the plant, grab the upgrade, rip out the plant and try to make the gold berry plant was insane. I got so many game overs, it's not even funny. It took me a whole ass hour to have a run that was good enough to grab the achievement. I hated this. And that's only the first of the city levels. Moving on, we have City Square, and it's time to meet the rest of the gang. Dim, Tuck and Roll, Rosie, Manny, and Gypsy. The level is filled with boxes for platforming and upgrades, and every time we find a character, we get a cutscene.
Hello, Mr. Ant. Did Ant find rest of us?
I found Tuck and Roll and Rosie, but before finishing off, I explored the whole map to grab all 3 medals and achievements. Our first challenge is to find all of the characters within 50 seconds. Luckily, the timer pauses during each cutscene. What friggin' timer? I don't see a timer. I ended up going in this order. First up was Dim. He was the closest to the spawn. From here, I would run straight towards this propeller seed to make it up to Tuck and Roll. Jumping down and heading around led to Manny and Gypsy up top. And then with the tiny amount of time left, I would run into Rosie, as long as she was close enough for the achievement. Only a couple of attempts on this one. This next challenge required me to learn the whole damn level. City Square, Seed Collector. Collect all seed upgrades within 1 minute and 40 seconds. Alright, here we go. This one was frustrating, but fun, as the platforming on this level is great, but any mistakes would ruin the whole run. The first 3 seeds are in front of us. With a few jumps and butt slams, I can grab them and head back. Avoiding the fly, I make take it over to a blue upgrade. Running around and without being able to move the camera, I have to trust a backwards jump to grab a blue upgrade up top, and then I land down on one below. After grabbing another blue upgrade, we have to create a super jump plan. This plan can ruin the entire run. Most of the time, it will spit the super jump out first, but other times, for no reason at all, it will just shoot out spikes, wasting all of the time that you have made up, meaning a restart is needed. Once we have the super jump, we can run over and butt slam up to this can, grab the upgrade, and head to the back of the map. Then, returning to tuck and roll, we run all the way across and then back one more time to propel up to the final upgrade. Now, I have to remember and practice this entire route until I can do it in 1 minute and 40 seconds. I was let down by failed jumps, the plant not giving me the friggin' super jump, and sometimes just forgetting the way. 45 minutes of trying led to the last attempt, where I just about propel up to grab the achievement. How about another boss fight? The gang get into some trouble with the local flies, leaving Flik to take the biggest one on in a fight. Thud. Holy crap, what is this? There's so much going on. We have shit just flying at us, the big fly is throwing blueberries at us, there's a random ass bouncy ball in the way. This is awful. Using the blueberries, I hit Thud, and each time he drops some grain and heads to the other side of the can. Meaning, after every hit, we've got to chase him while avoiding all of the crap being thrown around in this can. This level overwhelmed me at first, so for now, I just killed Thud to get the first achievement, Bug Bar. Heading back in, this time I pushed the ball to the back, grabbed the gold berries, and kicked his ass for the enemy defeater medal. Turns out the ball is needed to get the 4 letters. We bounce into it to move it, and it stops below each letter, giving us a chance to jump up and obtain them all. This was annoying as I just kept getting hit while trying to grab them, but while here, I decided to check the first challenge achievement. Can't touch Flik. Obtain the Flik medal within 30 seconds. Alright, that's not too bad. Wait, without taking any damage? Nah, there's no way. A speedrun damageless achievement on this level of all places. I can barely move without getting hit. Now I've got to do it quickly. Turns out, just as this level starts, if we run backwards, the timing lines up that we can run and chase the ball to the back without any of the items hitting us. Here, I can grab the letter K. Now, the hard part, getting the rest of the letters. I got hit by berries, the stuff flying around. Trying to weave around everything just started to make me feel sick, and doing it fast felt impossible. But then, I had a run that was not only perfect, but insanely quick, popping the achievement. Let's hope the next challenge isn't that hard. I end up slowly taking out Thud and grab the grain collector achievement and check out the next challenge. Just gold. Complete Bug Bar without collecting blueberries or taking any damage. Why? Why is this a thing? You know what? I'm not even mad about the damage part. The thing that really annoyed me was the blueberries. Not only are the blueberries on one side of the can, and they power me down so they're not even that useful, but Thud randomly throws you the upgrade once in a while. So while I'm trying to focus on not getting hit, every now and again, this dickhead fly would just toss me the one thing that I don't want to pick up, causing me to restart. This was ridiculous. It was the closest I've gotten so far to quitting the entire set, time and time again. I would have to reset due to getting hit by the corks, dice, bottle tops, blueberries, having the upgrade given to me. I started to think it wasn't possible. For 40 minutes I struggled, having to chase Thud to each side of the arena just to do some damage, and on my final run, I decided to run up the sides of the can to see the items a little bit better, and from this strategy, I was able to take him out, unlocking the achievement. I really felt the difficulty of this one, so that achievement popping was insanely good. Level 10 is Clover Forest. The ants and the other bugs have come up with a plan to make their own bird, to scare Hopper so that he never returns to Ant Island. So here, we are collecting the parts needed to construct it. Clover Forest was a nice break, the calm before the storm, as the levels after this included the worst 2 achievements of the entire set. Here, we get to visit all of our new friends, who have the bird parts for us. We use all of our upgrades to grab grain and letters, and by upgrading our orange seed to max, we get the cannon plant, leading us to the final part of the bird and the final bits of grain. I defeat all of the enemies before grabbing the final part, wrapping up the level. First up for our challenges, we have Forget About the Bird, I Need Grain. Obtain the grain medal within 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I think this is one of the most forgiving speedrun achievements. Once I had learned where the scattered grain was, using a couple of glitch walls to jump up to make it to places faster, I focused on assembling the cannon plan to launch up, grabbing the final 4 grains needed for the achievement. As I started the next challenge, I butt slammed this spider and the game broke. Oh wait, a bonus stage? I had no idea there were bonus stages in this game. This one was unlocked by defeating a certain amount of spiders using anything, only butt slams. All I had to do to finish this bonus stage was carefully walk up this broken umbrella to the exclamation point and get a bonus cutscene of the circus gang. We'll have to find the other 2 bonus stages later on. Now we have the second challenge of Clover Forest. Careful build planning. Complete the level jumping on at most 8 seeds. After finishing the level a few times by now, this was easily done. Using a few of the wall glitches to avoid having to use the seeds, I ended up only needing to use 6 seeds to make it to the end, popping the achievement. This next level wasn't difficult, yet I hate absolutely everything about it. The tree. From Flik's annoying ass repeated voice lines,
Just need to get to the bird.
to the music of this level. I don't know why, but it just got to me so badly. Maybe I spent too long being lost on this level, but hearing the music repeat this much felt like I was taking psychic damage. Around the tree, we have upgrades to grab, but it's running up the tree where our problems start. It's filled with mosquitoes and rolling acorns that will either damage us or knock us off of the tree all the way back down. We have Rosie's webs and vines that we can use to grab and swing, and then we have the actual objective of saving the 5 ant scouts scattered around the tree. They're on these tree branches that I had such problems staying on with the slippery physics. And then they go ahead and put the letters in these awful spots, where now I've got to jump and hope that I don't fall off the tree. I got Dim to save all of the scouts, and I spent a solid 30 minutes grabbing the grain, killing all of the mosquitoes, and searching for the final 2 letters, which were in such awkward places to grab. Wrapping up the level, the first challenge should not have taken me this long. 30 minutes in total for this one, free falling. Collect 4 seed upgrades in the tree without jumping on any seeds. The approach to this one is to head up the tree and try and land on the seed upgrades, which of course are hovering right over the seeds, making it very easy to accidentally activate one. Trying to angle Flik and use the camera to spot the seed upgrades before realizing that the draw distance in this game is absolute ass, so you can't actually see where you're jumping. 30 minutes of running up this damn tree, getting hit by acorns and making blind jumps just in hopes that I could grab one of the 4 seed upgrades. I ended up getting 3 green upgrades and somehow got lucky with this spot where I jumped off to finally grab the achievement. Then we had another quick flick achievement, 2 minutes to grab all of the letters. Not only do we have the slippery floor of the tree, but now I've got to do it as quick as possible, making falling off an absolute disaster. I eventually found out that running to the back of the tree was a lot faster to climb, and the first 2 letters were not that bad to grab, but the final 2. First, I had to hope that I didn't fall or get hit while making it to a point where I could see the letter L. Then I had to make it up the first vine and try not to clip through this friggin' branch for the letter K, which happened way more than it should. I grabbed the achievement and moved on to the next level, Battle Arena. After the bird had failed, Flik stood up to Hopper, causing all of the ants to follow, finally standing their ground. Here we have a boss fight against Molt, Hopper's brother. You would think with 10,000 ants watching this fight, they would give you a hand, but nope, even worse, they throw red berry upgrades at you from the sidelines. So any upgrades that I currently have just disappear back to basics. It's a very tiny battle arena. The grain medal is grabbed first, and Molt chases us if we get close to the center. He's very fast and ends up killing me a couple of times. Avoiding the spiders, I can use the seeds to grab the upgrades and letters. Now I just need to use the gold berry while hoping that none of the ants take it away from me with the red berries. And we get the 2 achievements for taking Molt out the first time. The first challenge is easy, 0 to 50 in 25, for collecting all the grain within 25 seconds. It's all super close to each other, so this one's a breeze. But now we have to get the enemy's medal within 2 minutes. What a pain. If it's not Flik's janky jumping messing me up, it's the ants resetting my berry upgrades. Then Molt being super fast, stopping me from doing anything. A couple of tries and I get the achievement. Now, earlier on, I spoke about the 2 hardest achievements in the entire set, and one of them is on this next level. Anthill Part 2. The whole anthill is filled with grasshoppers. It's foggy and Hopper has captured Princess Atta, so we need to bring him down and save her. I spent a while on this level, trying to find upgrades in order to take out the grasshoppers. We even run into Tuck and Roll, who help us get 2 upgrades. Well, when they can be bothered to. It's a lot of taking the available seeds scattered around the level to grab what we need, and it all leads to making a shooter plant to bring down Hopper. I grabbed the last few grain, grabbed the letter, and this time there's no gold berry. Instead, we have this purple plant, and once it's placed, blast, boom, it blows up the grasshoppers. It's a bit of a pain as we have to keep taking it to every single enemy, place it down, run away, and then grab it again. After earning the enemy's medal, I take out Hopper and save the princess. So, the first challenge on this level is to collect all of the grain within 1 minute and 40 seconds. And thank God this was easy to do. Once I knew where the grain places were, I got this very fast. And here we are. This might be the hardest achievement of the entire set. There's another difficult achievement coming up in the next level, but the requirements for this one are just insane. Here is the achievement. Fast upgrades. Collect all green and blue seed upgrades within 65 seconds. This is the achievement that causes most people to give up the entire set, as it requires way too much perfection. So, why is this so impossible to do? Let's go over the seed upgrades. The start of the run begins with tuck and roll. Already an annoying ass start. When you jump, tuck will jump, followed by roll. But it's very inconsistent, and you need this to be quite fast, and these are just the first 2 seeds to get. If you get a good tuck and roll, you can head to the next upgrade. This floating blue upgrade over this rock. Man, this is an annoying ass jump. Sometimes, Flik will just delay the jump for no reason. You gotta jump at the middle part of the rock and perform a perfect butt slam to just about reach it. And this is after having a good tuck and roll setup. Then, we've gotta run all the way over to this mushroom to grab a green upgrade. And our next location, you should recognize. It's the rock from the very first level. Remember when we had to jump for the gold berry? Well, this time, it's a blue upgrade. This jump right here is the hardest thing to do in this game. It's a pixel frame perfect jump that you need to pull off with a perfect butt slam in order to make it. You're either going to make this jump in your first 10 attempts from sheer luck, or you're going to practice this jump for 3 hours. After this jump, there are still 3 more seeds to grab, which is this blue one next to a grasshopper, a green one above this mushroom, and the final upgrade that requires jumping up to this section. All of this within 65 seconds. You have to hope that you make every single perfect jump in this route, and unfortunately, I was not one of the lucky ones that got this in my first few tries. This jump right here took me 2.5 hours to just hit once. 2.5 hours with hundreds of attempts to land it once. Not even as part of a run, just to see if I could do it. I read advice on the RetroAchievements forums. People had posted clips and videos trying to help other people out. Like I said, this achievement is where most people give up their entire run of the set. I didn't want to believe it was going to be this hard when I started. After all the bullshit I've already had to do, I just couldn't believe that a single jump was going to stall me out. But it did. By this point, I've been playing the game for 11 hours straight, so I got some sleep. When I woke up, this achievement was the first thing on my mind. And while in bed, I pulled up a video, and I want to give a big shout out to JB Retro's VOD channel. He had done this mastery a few months ago and had footage of his entire run, and I think without this footage of the achievement, I would have given up. He did the same as me, practiced the jump over and over again. But on his last couple of runs, he started to get Flik to run in an S shape. You see, with how slippery Flik is, anytime you went to jump at the tip of the branch hanging off of the rock, Flik would just fall. But using the D-pad with a snake run, he would keep his momentum and make the jump a lot more consistently. After watching this, I was itching to give it a go, so I started up and practiced the technique. It took me exactly 2 minutes before I hit a successful jump. There's no way. So I started my runs, expecting to do this all day. But within 6 minutes of starting my sessions recording, I pulled this off. I got a great tuck and roll, a perfect jump on the first blue upgrade. I held my breath and ran to the rock, lined Flik's body up, snaked over, and missed. I didn't let it bother me. I just went for it again, but this time I hit it. Without thinking, I went for the last 3 upgrades, and to my actual amazement, the achievement popped. Holy shit, I could not believe it. 6 minutes into trying it, and I had finished the achievement. That's insane. And I would like to say that things get easier from here, but we still have 2 more levels to go, and one of the achievements took even longer than this one. At this point, Hopper is chasing down Flik and Princess Atta while it's absolutely pouring it down with rain, leading us to the level Riverbed Fly. This level will test everything that you have learned about the game. Look at this shit. We have a maze, every enemy in the damn game. The The rain falling everywhere with Hopper chasing close behind us. Every rock, feather, branch that you can see all have collision, which will knock us back into Hopper, either hurting us or killing us. On top of all of this, we have a total of 56 enemies to defeat with the Golden Berry. So many different pathways to take to try and find them all, to the point where it takes at least 10 minutes to take them all out. Everything about this level is stressful and tedious, and on my first attempt, I just made it to the end to pop the achievement Riverbed Fly. I headed back to the boss fight against Thud, as jumping on the ball to collect the letters for an extra life was a lot faster than the training level. Back at the Fly, I went for the grain. Here's a fun fact: when you pick up the grain on this level, it speeds you up like crazy, which can cause you to go crashing into enemies and any obstacles in the way. I managed to collect all 50 pieces for the achievement. I found all of the letters and then spent 30 minutes killing all of the enemies for the first time to grab the 3 medals. Our first challenge here is flying for Flik. Obtain the Flik medal within 1 minute and 20 seconds. Like I said, grabbing the grain does speed you up, so between learning where the letters are in the sky and using the grain to quickly fly around, it let me grab this achievement in about 20 minutes. That is nothing compared to this next one. This level is crazy. We have Hopper chasing us, 56 enemies scattered around an insane maze of rocks, feathers, spiked plants, branches, all that can either bounce us back into Hopper to get us damaged or even kill us. 56 enemies that will take at least 10 to 15 minutes to locate and destroy, all while multitasking to stay alive. I think you guys know where this is heading. Our next hardest achievement, gold for the princess. Obtain the enemy's medal in Riverbed Fly without taking any damage. It's time to lock in. There's no tricks, no glitches, nothing that can help us. This achievement is down to just pure skill with the game. It's practice makes perfect, and training your muscle memory to master this achievement and level. First of all, just making it to the Golden Berry without taking any damage is an absolute pain. You have to work out the best route to take, which I think just comes down to how you play. Over time, you will learn every spawn of every enemy, when to fly up, what pieces of the map cause collision. Then, once you're finally at the Golden Berry, finding the absolute best route to take. You are avoiding enemies, the collision, and focusing on not getting hit by Hopper, all while absolutely spamming the attack button so that you don't miss an enemy, because sometimes a frame perfect kill might just save you from not getting hit. And if you bounce off any collisions, just jumping up or falling back down can just about save you. The different enemies are frustrating. You have the massive wasps, tiny blue flies, the long-nosed freaks with insane hitboxes, and the damn worms. The worms will pop out, but you will miss them, meaning you have to take the route all the way back around just to be able to kill them. Slightly hit a wall and Hopper will hit you. Fly over the wormhole, the worm will hit you. Haven't tested a feather to see if it actually has collision, it will bounce you back and you will get damaged. For 2 hours and 45 minutes, I attempted this achievement. This is the most tedious achievement I've ever had to do for a video. There is no way to explain how flaccid it was to get a high kill count like 46 or even 51 and accidentally get hit. Having to start over. There were times where I thought this couldn't be done. It's too much, but I just kept going and going. I'm pretty sure I now know this map better than my own house. And on this run, I was on the last couple of bugs needed to be killed. I'm flying down every section of the map, praying that I can find them before something goes wrong, because something always goes wrong. In a second, this run could be over, but by some miracle, I found the final worm hidden on this pathway, and the achievement popped. I don't normally ask people to sub to the channel until the end of the videos, but just this once, if you have enjoyed so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This achievement set was just insane. To take a breather, I took on the 2 bonus stages before the final level. To activate the final 2 bonus stages, we need to put 5 mushroom seeds together and bounce on all of them in a line, letting us take on this stage where we need to upgrade all the way to a cannon plant to grab the achievement. And we need to kill a few grasshoppers using blueberries without missing a shot. This gives us the final bonus stage where we can see and use every single plant in the game, which is pretty awesome. Using the super jump, we claim the achievement. And now it's time for the final level, Canyon Showdown. It's the final boss fight against Hopper. There's grasshoppers everywhere, and the music and atmosphere is intense. Using the seeds, we have platforming on top after climbing this tree branch to grab grain and letters. Once we have a blueberry upgrade, we can attack Hopper. Hopper uses his own white berries against us, and can also bump into us to hurt us. By taking his health down slightly, he opens up the next next part of the level. Now it turns into a fight up top. These jumps were frustrating as they had massive gaps that I kept getting stuck in. Up top, I found the letter K, meaning I just had one letter left to find. Taking a seed all the way back, we can propel it up to grab the final letter for the last Flik Finder achievement. I attacked Hopper some more to force him into the final section of the level. While fighting, I noticed the gold berries and headed back to destroy the grasshoppers once and for all, and got the final enemy defeater achievement. While chasing Hopper up the mountain, I grabbed the last few grain for the last grain collector achievement. I then fought Hopper and distracted him until the bird returned, which popped the achievement Canyon Showdown. And we get to watch a pretty messed up scene of Hopper absolutely screaming as the bird takes him away.
Help me! Help me! Ah!
We have just 2 more achievements to grab. Up first, our final quick flick achievement. Obtain the flick medal within 3 minutes. Taking the seed up top, we can use a dandelion seed to grab the F and the I. Quickly taking on Hopper allows us to get through and jump up for the letter K. Heading down, we grab a seed, and before leaving the first area, I had set up a propeller plan, which saved me enough time to launch this final seed and fly up to grab the achievement. And now, the final achievement of this ridiculous set. Hopper Takedown. Complete Canyon Showdown without upgrading your berries beyond blue and without taking any damage. The blue berries can be grabbed right away from up top, but when fighting Hopper, we have to be careful. His white berries fly towards us where we are standing, and they can catch you off guard. Then, the next area is a pain. Trying to fight him while high up, you can easily fall down, get stuck in the cracks, or get pelted by him. By taking my time, I was able to run back and forth, only attacking him when it felt right. Finally, I had forced him to the mountain. This was scary, as he's flying right above us and there's other grasshoppers to look out for. One by one, I took them out and got to the top of the mountain. Here is the final showdown. I locked in once and for all. The hardest achievement set I have ever had to do. From speedrunning this janky ass platformer to all of the damageless bullshit, learning frame perfect jumps and spending hours on levels just to meet the crazy requirements set for this game. And with a few final berry throws, the final achievement popped, and I had finally mastered and 100%ed Disney's A Bug's Life for the PlayStation 1. Be sure to check out another 100% mastery on the screen right now. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.